This is the Seminole County Old Folks Home. It was built in 1926, considered one of the, probably the last remaining county-funded old folks home in Florida. It is now the Museum of Seminole County History. And we're going to go inside, take a look at the museum, but we're also going to look at its exterior, Pebble Dash exterior, which is very unique and landed on the National Historic Places list. So let's go take a look. And here's a close-up of the Pebble Dash. Looks almost like a conglomerate of glass and other type of materials. And some more of the Dash pebble. Early 20th century living room scene. Fireplace. Vintage bathroom. An old guitar. Other musical instruments. Violin. Old washboard. Oven and icebox. Dating back to the early mid 20th century. And other kitchen necessities. And this room highlights the forts of the Second Seminole War, possibly Civil War, and the lakes of the area. Some 19th century maps of Florida. And this is the local area of Lake Monroe and Sanford. U.S. Navy cap. This dates back to 1840, the time of the Second Seminole War. And a Navy surgeon's chest dating to 1830. And a scalpel he may have used in amputations. Harper's Ferry flintlock musket dating to 1816, and U.S. Dragoon sabers dating to 1833. These artifacts were unearthed near Fort Reed. And portions of a porcelain bowl dating to the 1830s. Reproduction U.S. Army cap and an iron axe next to it. And this map details the plant railroad system that went through the southeast, including in Florida. This is a print of Henry B. Plant himself, the railroad tycoon. And a display on the historic Goldsboro district, historic African American area of Sanford. And in this room, in addition to the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, we have a working desk, as well as student desks that would have been from a local school in Sanford. Portrait of George Washington. And it's George Washington and Abraham Lincoln were always considered the premier presidents in American history through the 20th century. And a number of vintage books that were probably part of the school library. And items displaying the steamboat history of Lake Monroe and the St. Johns River. Ice tongs and a pole. And this dates to 1917. High voltage power insulators. And display on the railroads, as well as the steamboats. Car inspector's carbide lantern. Several locks. Telegraph light. Telegraph transmitter. And a bunch of railroad spikes. And a lot of vintage machinery here. This is a cash register, a very large one. And store displays. Number of insulators. And just tools. And assorted bottles, canisters, some vintage 7-Up and Coca-Cola, Suncrest, medicine bottles, Liberty Aid soft drink, hat molds. Okay, that's interesting that these were used for place the fabric on these molds. Smokers and cowbells. As much as we want more cowbell, I'm not going to touch the artifacts out of respect. And other types of seeds that could be purchased in the shop. On the right is a horse and mule collar. On the left, we have a washboard and a large black pot with a jobbing stick. And a grindstone used to sand down tools or other items. And a number of jugs and milk bottles. And larger sizes here on the bottom. Liquor dealers. So the liquor's in the larger bottles. And this room is a display on medicine and a typical county hospital room in the early 20th century. And an asepto wound and irrigation syringe. Different types of medicines. And you got the bedpan. Use the ionizer in any position. Okay. Around your neck, I guess on your bottom. And a hospital bed. Here a tiny latrine. And then different, a violet ray machine. It was invented by Nicholas Tesla, said to provide cures for conditions such as baldness, bunions, blackheads, uncomfortable ailments such as eczema, hay fever, and sciatica, and injuries like bruises and sprains. So what an amazing invention. I wonder why it never got out on the market. And some other medical supplies in a medical bag. It belonged to Dr. Norman de Vera Howard, prominent doctor in Sanford. And a living room set in this room, including the red light, sofas and chairs. In this room we have the examination table. Doesn't look very comfortable at all. And a series of red velvet chairs, perhaps to watch the operating table, whatever action happened there. And this room focus on police. This is a early bulletproof vest. Very interesting. And some judge gavels. And some fire helmets. And other bugles. Hats and uniforms and helmets worn by police. Here we have jail bars. And a history of the sheriffs of the county, and this is a jail door for the Sanford City Jail. In the technology room, we have a number of typewriters, and we have a mimeograph machine dating back to the 1950s. Cash register. Addressograph labeling system, which I've never seen anything like that. Okay, an old computer. This is the Zorba portable computer. So $799. This is from the 1980s. I'm not familiar with this brand, but this is a real artifact from the early days of computers. And some more typewriters. An LC Smith typewriter. Another one right here. And comptometers. These date to around the turn of the 20th century. And interesting poster here of Herbert Hoover for president. It's very vintage.